Greetings and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Kiyonah. Cheers and may you be blessed. Today I'd like to just ramble on with you about a phenomena that's being called the Mandela effect. I'm not a scientist and I have not studied it in depth, but it does seem to me like a very real phenomena. So for anyone who's interested, I thought I would just share my experiences and my perspectives and perceptions and what I think might be possible. What I think is that the Mandela effect is either the merging of parallel timelines, or we have somehow shifted to another dimension or a parallel universe. Some kind of a shift has happened. And with the Mandela effect, the people who don't remember things a different way are the ones who have always occupied that timeline. And the ones who remember a different way before, and now it's different, we're the ones who moved to the new timeline. And we took the place of our parallel selves, and now we're fully here in this timeline. For example, Nelson Mandela died in July of 1991, and everybody remembered it. As far as I know, everybody knew it if they were watching the news. But yet, after 2012, I heard he was alive and he was the president of South Africa, and then I believe he died in 2013 again. So he died in the old timeline, but he was still alive in the new timeline, and when we moved, he was still here. Same thing for Billy Graham. I lived for years in Boone, North Carolina, where we had a huge charity called Samaritan's Purse that was run by him and his son. And I remember him dying, it was either 2008 or 2010, I'm not sure, somewhere in there. And his son took over the Billy Graham Ministries. He took over all of it, and he was like a jet setter. He had his own airplane. He was really cool and good looking, and like he had all these exciting new ideas. And then just the other day I saw a thing online that was saying that he was 96 years old now. So he didn't die. He died in the old timeline, but not in the new timeline. And I talk to people I know, including my partner, who do not believe in the Mandela effect, but I do. And I can give you a bunch of examples. I remember the Rock of Gibraltar as being an island, but when I went to go find it on the globe, it was actually attached to the mainland. And I clearly remember it being an island, a rocky island. Not in this timeline. In this timeline, it's attached to the mainland, you know? So there's two possible things I think that could be going on. Number one, the things that CERN are doing are messing with the time-space continuum, and they've dropped an electron or done something that's made things slightly different here, and we haven't moved anywhere. We're in the same universe, but the matrix programming has a little glitch. And then the other thing is, maybe there was a disaster in 2012, like World War III. And the scientists at CERN or whoever was able to do something to mess with time and space so that that didn't happen. But the result of their work is that there's all these little glitches where little parallel timelines cross over each other and make things different. Oh no, it's pretty trippy. I've seen a lot of glitches that I just thought were unbelievable. Like, I can't believe my eyes, to be honest. All my life, I was born in 1970, and all my life, the Earth has been presented as a round globe floating in space. Totally round, with a bubble of whitish blue cloud and atmosphere around it. Right? Well, I was watching some videos the other day of UFO sightings from outer space, like from the space station or from NASA cameras. And in several of them, you could see the Earth in the background. Like it was near the moon and it was looking towards the Earth, and you could see a UFO. So the videos were commenting about the UFO being there, and that it can only be a UFO because human technology can't fly at the height that it was at, or maneuver like that. Well, the thing that shocked me was that when you looked at the Earth from the moon, it actually looked like a rocky diamond or an ice cream cone shape. Like it came down to a point of gray and brown and black and other colors of rock, and then it had a flattish top like mountains that went round, and it seemed like it was spinning like this. It was like mountains on top of an ice cream cone, and it would spin on its axis like a top. And it's as clear as anything. You can totally see it. And I was like, whoa. Every time I've ever seen the Earth, it's always been a round globe, a ball, in space, shrouded in a fine blue spirit mist. But when I saw these videos from outer space, it looked like a rocky, diamond-shaped kind of ice cream cone. And the atmosphere stayed right around the edge of it. Not round like a ball with this thing inside of it, but like the atmosphere clung right to the edges. That was when I knew for sure that I'm in a different timeline, and I'm really glad, to be honest. I'm very glad to have escaped that old timeline, and I worked really hard to get here. I first became aware of this possibility of jumping to higher dimensions, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, jumping timelines, in 2015, September 2015, when I was studying David Icke and listening to all his speeches and anything else that was relevant. And I was trying really hard to raise my vibrational frequency as high as I could, in the 800s, the 900s, the 1500s, as high as I could, so that I would ascend to the next plane along with everyone else, and leave that old one behind. And I don't know how to say it, but I really feel like it happened. I think it happened first around 2012, and things changed and shifted a little bit, but there have been so many glitches in the matrix since then that I think it's continuing, like an earthquake with reverberations maybe. And that in September of 2015, we definitely jumped another timeline when Trump was elected. The next day after the election, I definitely felt like I was in a different world. Vibrationally and everything, it looked the same, much the same, but there were so many little glitches and things that were different, yet normal, that I was like, we have to be in an alternate reality. And I'm so glad, because I guess that means we averted disaster, because life is a lot better on this timeline. I mean, I miss the things that have changed. If you study the Mandela effect and all the things that have changed, and when we know, we remember it correctly. That's because that's how it was in the old timeline. And when we jump to this parallel timeline, it's off by one molecule. It's like the difference between humans and chimpanzees. We're like totally a lot alike, but there's that one little difference that makes a lot of differences in the physical expression of it. So it still looks like the same planet, but a lot of things are different. A lot of locations of things, a lot of cryptids and extinct creatures coming back, a lot of islands disappearing and new islands forming overnight, new neighborhoods popping up in cities, like as though they've always been there. So obviously we're the ones who changed location. It feels obvious to me that we stepped into a parallel dimension. And I feel like the old dimension that we were on was really headed for disaster. And it was really depressing. It felt really constricting and imprisoned and enslaved by, say, reptilians or something like that. It felt hopeless, like we were on a prison planet, and that we were just doomed and we were just doing our time until it was over. And then as we started stepping over to this other timeline, things started getting better, Things like, what I think it is that the negative timelines within our timeline are collapsing. And every time they do, it makes a glitch in the matrix. And the ones who remember it a certain way are the ones who were on the old timeline. The ones who don't remember another way or who think this is the right way, it's always been this way, are the ones who live in that parallel dimension. You know, it is right for them, and we're also correct. It's not false memories. It's glitches in the matrix, in the programming, because we switch timelines. And because energy can't be destroyed, it can only be transferred. When we entered this parallel timeline, we pushed out ourselves that were in that timeline, I think. Or we merged with it or something. So I was worried that I would be transported to another dimension and people I love would be left behind. But it didn't happen that way, because apparently there's versions of ourselves in every timeline. And we just have to go and step into that version of ourselves. I'm just speculating as a weirdo, you know, person who has an imagination. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely weird to see how the world always was. For example, the shape of the earth. And now, I wouldn't say it's flat, but it's a totally different shape than it ever was before when you look at it from the satellites from outer space. And it's not even remarked on by people making videos about it. They're talking about the UFOs they see. They're not talking about the shape of the earth being different. And things disappearing that have always been there, things reappearing that have never been there. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before. And I'm pretty aware of popular culture and how the world is. That just doesn't sound right. That doesn't fit right with how it's always been, but it's the way it is now, so we just have to accept it and go with it until there's enough generations that they forget how it used to be. I don't know. But I'm just glad if we did escape a bad timeline. And I'm glad if negative timelines are collapsing. And I'm glad if we are coalescing into a higher vibration. And that things can be healthy and creative and magical and sweet and delicious again on this earth. I think it's a process and it takes time, but I think we're on our way there. You know, as things were getting really dark towards the end, this guy on Fox, Bill O'Reilly, was always running his mouth and spewing hate and spewing opinionated bullshit, right? And influencing all these people who call themselves conservatives. You know, my rich Illuminati ancestors were true conservatives. They were staunch Republicans. They were Masons to the highest degree. They were Eastern Stars. They were daughters and sons of the American Revolution. And on and on and on. You know, and they would never listen to somebody like him. Well, he just got fired. He got canned. He's out. And the reason why is because it was a business decision, because they were losing advertisers because of allegations against him for how he treats women. Well, I don't think this would have happened on the old timeline. In the old timeline, they were just paying off his victims, you know. Now, this icon of idiocracy is canned. You know, he's in the can. He's gone. And I'm so glad. Fox is not news, it's entertainment. It's been banned in Canada since 2006 because it's illegal to lie on the news there. But because of its entertainment style, a lot of people believed that it was the news, even though it was entertainment. So they just had to ban it completely. So people wouldn't think that it was actually news that they were talking about. So, for all these people that think they're listening to serious political discourse, no, not anymore. And I hope they'll make room for some progressive, exciting stuff. That would be cool. Something interesting. So I think this is a good timeline. I think stuff still needs to be processed and purged and let go so we can raise our vibration and keep ascending into the higher dimension, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, and beyond, you know, as we're able to integrate and process everything. I think the Mandela effect is a good way to slowly leak this full disclosure that something big has happened, you know. that we're like the ants and they are like the humans, and they're building a superhighway over our anthill. And we have no idea what's going on. And for them to explain it to us would be like telling ants about the internet. You know, we are getting full disclosure slowly but surely. You know, as we're able to adjust to it. So, and I appreciate the slowness of it. It's like there's a timer valve on the process or something to give everyone time to catch up and to wake up and be aware. I think, you know, there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be purged, but it seems like the Guardians of the Galaxy are tinkering with things to make sure that they continue evolving and advancing despite any remaining things that need to be dealt with, you know. Another thing that happens a lot in my experience of the Mandela effect is driving through places I've been through many times, but I feel like I've never been there before. And I see things that were not ever there before. And it is the same road. I'll see one sign that'll remind me, this is that same road. But yet everything looks completely different. And then go back again down that road and it looks the way it used to. And then go down 2 or 3 times later and it looks different again. I sense a fluctuating or a wobbling. And I just try to go with the flow of it, you know. And just trust the GPS to get me where I need to go. It's not a very good plan though. And I still experience deja vu. I experience that more and more actually, where I feel like I knew this was going to happen, or I knew I was going to experience this, or I saw it in a dream and now it's real, and I don't know what the meaning is, if there is a meaning, but it feels like a checkpoint in the matrix where I've arrived. I've arrived at a checkpoint and I feel that awareness. And there might not be any meaning to it, but it is the checkpoint. And I don't believe that this reality is a computer simulation at all. I believe it's more like a giant trip on entheogens, actually. And so I'm really grateful for it, the Mandela effect. A lot of people panicked and were just really freaked out and didn't understand a lot of what was going on, but I think, you know, the glitches are a small price to pay for being on a new timeline. So I think we can handle that so far. It's just funny though for people to try to tell us we have false memories and stuff, because we don't have false memories. We're from a different timeline, you know, and eventually humanity will catch up and understand that. You know, so in the meantime, if you know that you're experiencing the Mandela effect, just play it cool. You know, maybe even make a note of it or make a video of it and share it with other people so that they can be aware of the same thing. Because I think it's good to know that there's possibilities of jumping timelines. You know, if life is just not working out in your timeline, you know, maybe there's a way to step into a different timeline. All I know is I tried hard to raise my vibration and be ready in so many different ways. I knew that our vibration has to be at a certain frequency of hertz or megahertz in order to be vibrationally aligned with the stepping through the veil, which happens instantly and invisibly. Like, we don't know when it happened exactly, or most of us don't. I think it's likely it happened on December the 21st of 2012, or somewhere thereabouts. And then it's been happening regularly ever since then. And my only hope is that, you know, we'll keep bringing ourselves into alignment and keep being immersed in the ascension process of purging and aligning and tapping into abundance and things like that. So I'm going to wrap it up for today. My next video is going to be about taming our tigers within, dealing with difficult emotions, how to take care of your difficult emotions so that you do keep your vibration high and that you do keep ascending, you know. But for today, I felt called to talk about the Mandela effect and to say, if you're experiencing the Mandela effect, you're not crazy. It's real, and it's kind of amusing in a way, if you're not too attached to the way things used to be, you know. So we can just enjoy the ride, really, and try to document it as we go, because I find it fascinating. I hope somebody can write some good books about it or make some good movies about it. They probably already have, and I'm just not aware of it. So remember to be beautiful, be free, and be true to yourself. Remember to take care and take it easy. And remember to be blissed and be blessed, because you truly are. And until I talk to you tomorrow, namaste and blessed be.